All right, guys, I hate to disappoint you, but I don't have any PowerPoint presentations or any deep, dark teachings, mystical, whatever. Uh, what I'm going to share with you is something that I experienced about a week or so ago. And it's a dream, and I know it's a God dream. And every time I looked at the various different things that I could have taught on, it's that God just kind of shut it down. And God wants me to share this dream, I feel, with this group. And there's a lot of symbolism. There's a lot of allegory in this dream. And I don't normally remember my dreams for the most part, but the ones that I do remember, I know are from God. And this one I can't forget. And it's kind of like an Alice in Wonderland dream. And to kind of give you a backdrop of when I had this dream, I was really sick last weekend. I was in bed for probably a day and a half, and just had severe pain up in here, and I was having to make bathroom runs literally, no pun intended, but still. And so all I wanted to do was lay in bed and try to find some comfortable position where I could alleviate the pain somehow. But during this time, I had this dream. And it's going to sound crazy. There are a lot of disconnected pieces to it. It wasn't until after the dream that God started unlocking some of the symbolisms for me personally. And I don't know why I'm supposed to share this, because I just thought it was for me and God would unlock these things. But apparently I'm supposed to share it. So this is going to be a little different. So in this dream, I'm lying on a bed, hurting, sick, just like I was in reality. And I'm laying there and I'm, trying to get comfortable. And then Olga comes in and says, "Hey, there's some people here that want to talk to you." And I'm like, "I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm sick." And then somebody comes up and they just start babbling away. And I'm going, "What is going on? I just want to lay here in bed and recover." And this person is coming up trying to have a conversation with me. And it's hard for me to carry on a conversation on a good day, much less a bad day when I'm lying in bed sick. So anyway, and on top of the fact that I'm in my underwear with just a sheet covering me, and this is really, really embarrassing. And so I'm saying, "Olga, what is going on?" And I look up and there's more people coming, which is exactly what I need, more people. And so I'm calling out to Olga and I'm saying, "What did you put this on Facebook blast? Gary's sick. Everybody come over. What's going on? I don't understand. I don't want all these people in my room. I just want to go back to bed and go back to sleep." And so anyway, she doesn't respond, and all these people are talking, and some of them are talking to me, and some of them are talking to each other. And it's just this big room. I'm on this mattress, and finally I go, "Well, I got to get up, regardless of what I'm dressed in." So I get up, and a lot of these things, like I say, are going to sound really, really disconnected, but you just have to take this journey with me for some reason. So I get up and get off the mattress, and over to the west side is this window with a windowsill and a radio on it, and it's a communication radio. And there are people that are talking to me, 3 men, and they're talking to me about something I have no idea what they're talking about, but supposedly I'm involved in whatever it is. I'm a part of this project that I have no idea. And so look, guys, I can't do this right now because I'm really, really sick, and I just want to go lay down in bed. And then there's all these people that are just coming into my room, and they just laughed and laughed and laughed, and a few people in the room laughed and laughed. It's like, it's not funny. I don't know what's going on. I just I just want to go back to bed. And so anyway, they were just kind of laughing about it and all that. And so I thought, okay, I got to get my bearings here, you know? And so all of a sudden I see myself in a mirror, and I'm not in my mirror. I'm in this outlandish, gaudy looking thing where it looks like the top portion came out of Liberace's closet with all the, you know, diamonds and speckles and all of that stuff. And the bottom half looked like it came out of Elvis's closet. You know, it was just gaudy and whorish and just, you know, I mean, I thought, I can't go anywhere like this. This is not me. This is not how I dress. And, you know, I have a tendency towards black, you know, not all of this. I can't go anywhere with this. And the guys on the radio said, oh, by the way, the boss is flying into the airport. It needs to be picked up in 2 hours. And so I get the impression that it is my responsibility to go pick this guy up from the airport, even though I don't know who he is or what my place is in this whole scenario of people talking to me on the radio and the guy flying into the airport. So I'm thinking, okay, I got to change out of this garbage that I'm wearing. And so I see a chest of drawers and I open it up, and there is a rolled up pair of jeans. Now, the only time I ever roll up jeans is when I'm traveling. So you roll the jeans up and they fit better in the suitcase. If I'm home, they're hanging on something. So I felt like that was significant, that travel was involved in whatever this dream was about. So I get these jeans and I'm trying to find a place of privacy because there's all these freaking people everywhere, you know, wanting to come up and talk to me, just babbling on. And I think, okay, I've got to find some place where I can go and find some privacy and get changed into my jeans and try to figure out what's going on. And so I'm heading along this hall that leads off to the north. And I look to the right and kind of, and as we go through this, each one of the rooms that I go through, it's almost like somebody built something and then another builder came along and attached it and didn't do a very good job. So they were just kind of like all piecemeal, do-it-yourself type of additions that were going on. Well, this was, there was some bathroom, you know, a couple of rooms. It was kind of elevated. You had to walk up to this area, but everything was in glass and there was no privacy. Even the bathrooms had glass. There was just no privacy. So I head up there. I can't find any place to change, finally give up, go back out, go through the bedroom area that I was at, and walk to the east. And there was this large room, kind of a common meeting area, living room, whatever, but it was quite large, very huge. And let me back up. Before I went up to look for a place to change my jeans, as I was heading up that north hallway, I came to a point. There was this guy that was standing on a ladder, hanging on to and poking something up through the rafter, saying at that point. It was like I wasn't allowed to go beyond that. So that's when I turned around and went back into this large common area. And guess what? There's more people. Just what I need. I don't feel well, and I just need more people in my life. And so all these people are coming up trying to talk to me and what have you. And so I'm heading north across this room, kind of making my way over there. And I see Chance, my son-in-law, on the outside of the house through a window. And so I go up to this window and I'm going to talk to him. And it was one of the strangest windows that I'd ever seen. It was like they were like shutters. And as the wind would blow in, the shutters would just kind of come back. And they were just kind of waving. And I saw what I thought would be the lock in order to kind of seal it and to shut it and keep it from doing that. And the more I tried to do that, the more I was frustrated because it just wasn't happening. There was something wrong with the mechanism. And Olga comes up about that time and she says, Mike Richardson, who's Gabe's dad, found a window, paid $750 for this window, and they're going to replace it. And that's what Chance is doing out there. And I said, okay. And the breeze is coming through here. And she said, I told them to wait until the weather was better. And I looked outside and the weather looked fine. It didn't look like there was any imminent threat of any kind. But just beyond Chance to the northwest, I see this house with this huge carport that is almost the size of the house. And the carport was covered on the north side and the west side, but the east side was open. And inside were a group of people that looked like they might have been just having a small get together or party or something like that. And they were in the carport, kind of coming to the edge of the carport. And then all of a sudden, this huge blast of wind comes along. And the ones who were the furthest out away from the back wall or the west wall of the carport got blown over, or they stumbled, or you could tell it affected them, but the people who were further back, it did not affect. And before I could tell Chance about this blast of wind that's coming this way, it hits. And Chance and the work crew that he's with, he's like totally focused on what he's doing. And it kind of rocked him a little bit, but he just kept on working as if nothing had happened. He was unaffected by it. So then I go outside. I'm going to go talk to Chance and find out, what the heck is going on. And outside on the porch, in front of the porch, are a couple of grills, odd-shaped grills. They were round. They looked like they had been made. It wasn't your typical Walmart grill that you go out and buy. And there were various levels to the grill for different heat levels. And they're all standing around, and they've got these grills going, but they're not cooking anything. And I said, what's going on? And they said, well, we're just waiting for the meat. I said, okay. And before I could get around to Chance, I looked out to the east, the rest of the yard, and there were grills just scattered out with little clusters of people. And then there's people who are just walking around and not hooked up with any cluster. But here's a grill, there's a grill, there's a grill, and they're just scattered throughout the yard. And so anyway, I'm making my way along the east side of the house and heading south. And I'm moving along, just trying to figure out where the garage is at so I can find a car to go pick up whoever it is at the airport. And I get on the south side, and there's this long hallway, the walkway, the fence on one side and the house on the other. And I thought, well, maybe it's back there. And I head that direction. And again, it was like that part was off limits. And this little person comes scurrying my way. You need to find the other door. You need to find the other door. Okay. And it was kind of scary. So I went ahead and backed up. And so I went back out into the yard again, and I'm just looking around trying to take everything in. And then I go kind of to the edge of the yard, and I see how this structure that I came out of was just pieced together. It wasn't complete. It wasn't a whole. It was just disjointed looking. So anyway, I go back down that walkway on the south side again, and I think maybe I can make it this time. I go through, maybe the scary guy won't be there, but no, as I get to a certain point, I can't go any further. And the little scary guy comes, chasing me back and said, look for the secret door. And so I looked around, I couldn't find it. I walked around the house a little bit, still couldn't see anything. And then finally I went back a third time. And once again, couldn't get any further than the little guy who was coming at me going, find the door, find the door. And then I looked to the right and I saw a door that I'd never seen before. So I walked through it, and sure enough, it kind of took me through some weird shaped, misshapen rooms, I guess. And so I saw a door and I thought, well, I'm going to go out there. I opened up the door and some little scary thing comes up and, is telling me I can't go that way. And he's crawling up and he's reaching for something in my right hand. And I look up, and this doesn't make any sense at all either, as if anything that I've said so far has made any sense. I had 3 cigarettes in me, and I quit smoking a while back. It's like, why do I have cigarettes? And they were solid white. There wasn't any brown filter paper on top of it. And the kid or creature or whatever it was trying to reach for that. And I kept keeping it out of his distance. And it's like, get off of me. It was so, he knocked me over. I mean, he was too small to knock me over, but he just kept crawling up my side and knocked me off balance. And I wound up on the floor. So I get up, shake that off, and I'm moving back into the original bedroom that I came from. And then all of a sudden, bathroom break, So I get up, make a run to the bathroom, take care of that. And I'm sitting there thinking, that is one of the strangest dreams I've ever had. And, but I could remember everything fairly clearly. So anyway, after I went back and laid down in bed, I'm right back in the dream, in the bedroom, on a mattress. Never happened to me before. So I'm laying on this mattress and I try to get up and I realize I can't, that something is on top of me. So I slide out and there's like this bunk bed type structure that doesn't have any distance. It only has enough room on the bottom bunk for the mattress and a person. And I thought, well, that's really odd. So anyway, I head back to the north hallway where the guy who's hanging on the rafters talking about the owls. And so I head to that point again, and I still can't go past that point. But there's less people in this room. So, that was a blessing. So I come back out through the bedroom into the big main room. And I'm walking over. There's less people in the room now, thank God. And as I'm heading up to the window, I see Chance's crew. They're walking away. The jobs have been done, jobs have been completed. But they weren't talking. They were walking in measured steps, equidistant, single file, not talking to anyone. No one's talking to them. They're not talking to each other. And at last, Chance, and they were marching off to the east. And so I'm ready to go outside and to talk to him and thank him for whatever it was he did. And now there's more grills out in the yard. And so I walk out just in time to see Chance disappear into the east, kind of like in this light. So I look at the people and I go, why are you here with all the grills? Well, we're just waiting on the meat. Well, who's got the meat? The meat's supposed to be here. I don't have any meat. Well, the meat's supposed to be here. Okay. So as I'm about to turn and walk around the east side of the house again, somebody who was in leadership back in the 80s and 90s comes walking, heading due south. And he's much younger than what he is today, of course. And he has a smile on his face. And his eyes are fixed. He's heading south. He's not talking to anybody. Nobody's talking to him. And I thought, well, that's strange. I'm going to follow and see where this guy, where he's headed. So I walk around and there's more grills and more people. And this time, now all of these grills in the yard were scattered. But now there was a line of grills where small clusters of Black people were gathered around. They weren't really engaging with each other. They were just standing around each of these 4 equidistant grills. And I'm thinking, this is really, really weird. And one of the ladies from one of those grills said, "Where's the meat?" I know it sounds like a bad commercial. And I said, "I don't know where the meat is." "Well, you're supposed to have the meat." "I don't know where any meat is." "Well, you're supposed to have the meat." "Okay, I'll go look for some meat." So I'm standing out in the yard. I'm about to go back in the house. And all of a sudden, there's this huge tree that is in the middle of all this house construction. It's kind of like the tree was there all along, and these rooms were just attached to it. And the tree was beautiful. It was massive. And there was this little hole in the side of the tree. And I walked up to it and discovered that it was a cave or a room or whatever you want to call it. So I walk in. I have to bow down in order to get through this doorway. And so I'm looking around the room, and I realized that this isn't something that was constructed by hands. This is the tree. And the wall was the tree, the ceiling was the tree, the floor was the tree. It was just a big cave in a really, really big tree. And so I'm kind of walking up the floor because it's buckled, and it looks like, one of those homes where the foundation is starting to, sink in, and then there are these high places in the floor. I'm thinking, well, this is kind of bad. I hope the tree is doing okay, because I don't want to fall through anything. And so I'm walking up on this big hump, and all of a sudden I feel it moving. And I'm thinking, is it going to collapse or what? And then I realize it's a rhythmic movement, like a heartbeat. And it was just rhythmically beating. And I'm standing there for a little bit. I'm going, this tree is alive. This is like really alive. Not just, oh, there's a live tree. It's like the tree has a heart. It's beating. And I look off to the left, and my daughter Mimi is sitting on a tree ledge that's part of this tree cave. And she's smiling. And then she looks over her left shoulder. And so there's kind of this concave barrier going behind her and to her left. And as I walk towards it, I see what initially I thought was the largest bathtub on the entire planet. It was huge, massive. And it's like, how many people can you fit in that tub? And then I realized it wasn't a tub, it was a ship, a canoe. And it had that concave look to it, like that. Probably could fit 30, 35 people in it. I mean, it was massive, it was huge. But the most striking thing about it was that it was the purest white I have ever seen in my life. it was a white that was so intense that it illuminated. It was the only source of illumination inside the tree cave. And I sat there and I looked at that for a while. And it's like, this thing is beautiful. That is the most pristine white I have ever seen in my entire life. And then I think, but I got to go find some meat because people are wanting meat. They got to have it now. Should have been out there a long time ago. And hopefully somebody got the guy at the airport because I don't think I'm going to make it. I can't even find a garage. So anyway, I walk out this doorway outside, going out of the tree into some small rooms. And I make my way back to the bedroom that I started in. In the corner, there is this huge ice chest that wasn't there before. So I go over to the ice chest, I open it up, and behold, we have meat. And some of the meat were already formed in patties, and some of the meat were just in bulk. I thought, great, I'll get this lady off my back. You know, we're all good. So I start to head out. I've got meat just as far up my forearms as I can, as much as I can possibly carry. And I walk out this door that I didn't see before, the secret door on the south side. And as I'm walking out, I feel like I'm losing control of the meat. It's like it's slipping out of my hands. And I look down, and it's not slipping out of my hands, it's melting through my hands. And it just dissolves into this big puddle on the ground. And to my left, on a ledge around a little porchway, is a plastic black skeleton, just from the waist up. It's like somebody chopped it off at the legs, set it down on the ground. And as I'm looking at that, these black bugs just swarm out, heading over to this pile of mush that was meat whenever I first had it in my hands, and they're just going after it. So I kind of make a wide berth around it. And then on the other side of the ledge where the porch is at, I see another ice chest. I thought, okay, got lucky once, maybe get lucky again. Open it up. Sure enough, we have meat. There's already formed hamburger patties, and there's bulk meat. And there's even some eggs, but I'm not going to deal with the eggs at this point because I just want to get the meat to the lady so she'll get off my back. So anyway, wrap up the meat, and I'm heading out to this lady. And again, it starts to just drip and melt through my hands. And I'm thinking, what in the world is going on? And the lady said, where's the meat? I said, I tried to bring it out here, but it's not any good. They said, well, you need to go get some more meat. And I'm thinking, okay. And to the east, you can see the backside of what might be a strip mall. And I thought, well, maybe I can walk over there. There's a grocery store. I'll go buy some more meat. I don't know if I have any money. I don't even know where money would be, or a car, or anything else, And so then I start heading that direction. And again, I come across another plastic black skeleton, just the upper portion of it. And as I'm standing there, these little bugs crawl out, black bugs, and they just keep going. And as I'm looking back to the east, trying to figure out if there's a grocery store up there, it is enveloped in a bright light. It was the light consumed and covered everything to a certain point. I could look at the light. It wasn't so bright I couldn't look at it, but it's like it was a dome of light or a wall of light that stopped at a certain point. And so I looked back at the lady. Hopefully she knew where a grocery store was. And she said, "We need meat. You need to go get the meat." And so I looked back towards the east in this bright light. And then that was when I woke up. Now I know that sounds really disjointed. And it is. But God has unlocked a few of the things, I feel, for me. And maybe something unlocked for you. Maybe he showed you something in what I dreamt of, and it may unlock something for you. And I know it's kind of an Alice in Wonderland dream. And no, I was not on drugs at the time. I was just sick. But I know it was God, because even 3 or 4 days later, I could lay down at night and remember the journey again. I could go through it again. And I knew it wasn't going away. So here are a few things that are a couple of things that God has unlocked for me at this point. And I know this isn't what you guys were expecting. Take it up with Dad. The tree was alive. It was a tree of life. It had a heart. It had a heartbeat. The white boat, like I said, the most spectacular white object I've ever seen. But when you're standing outside looking at the tree, all these things, all these structures were attached to it. It wasn't part of the tree. They attached themselves to that tree of life. And everything was disjointed, and everything was just added on here and added on there. And there was no continuity to it. It wasn't a house. It was scab structures that were attached to the tree. And one thing that God unlocked for me, and this is probably the reason why I was supposed to share this, because I have a lot of things I can teach on, and you know, some of them are really good, some of them aren't. But the deal with the meat, I feel like God unlocked that to me personally, and that the old stuff that I had was good. I mean, it was good back in that box. It was great. But God doesn't want us to stagnate. He doesn't want us to hang around something in the past when we need fresh meat. And so I felt like God was saying to me, well, I know God was saying to me, because he and I had a little discussion about this. I thought that sharing the dream was going to be stupid, that it was going to be nonsensical, that it was going to be, why did I waste my time listening to this guy ramble on about his dream? But God wouldn't let me get off of it. And I don't know, maybe some of you have some things to say. Maybe God has given you some insight on some of the things that was done. But I know for me personally, this, what God revealed to me in the past, it's good, it's great. You know, Jesus said in Matthew, he said, every scribe who has become a disciple of the kingdom is like the head of a household who brings out his treasure, brings out of his treasure things that are new and fresh, and things that are old and familiar. And that's our life in Christ, when we're wise stewards, wise scribes, so to speak, we bring out both things. We bring out both the old and familiar and the new and the fresh. I don't know what significance this dream has or anything other than me, but the Holy Spirit compelled me to share this dream for whatever reason, for whoever it's for. Maybe in the discussion time afterwards, somebody may have some insight. I don't know. So anyway, glad you made it through the journey, and I will expand this window. Maybe. There we go.